our enemies, we forget to watch our friends.
Satan is not in these books.
When the right gets it wrong.
It's a trap!
Hey, don't touch that. That's nothing to play with, man.
Right now on the Ari Hoffman Show.
We don't get fooled again.
I used to like Megyn Kelly's podcast. I liked the law angle of stuff. I got an A in my pre-law classes, my friends. I never went to law school, but I got an A in that pre-law class. Find it interesting when there's a case I'm interested in. And I would listen to it occasionally for her takes on cases that I had not delved into, because we have a policy on the show. We don't comment on the cases while they're ongoing. We wait till we've seen all the evidence. And her show is actually a very helpful way in breaking down a lot of these cases. Except for me, her credibility is starting to fail. Why? Megyn Kelly has always been a very tough interviewer. For example, I was driving out to the Bremerton Air Show. And that's a long drive for me. So I put on Megyn Kelly's interview with Jake Tapper. The book had just come out about the Biden collapse and whatever he called it, and Megyn Kelly was very harsh on him. She said, you know, Jake and I have been friends for years, but Jake, why didn't you say this beforehand? Why didn't you call this out as it was happening? It just seems like you're doing money now. And all these things are verified. We're not saying you're lying, but why didn't you do it earlier? People are saying you're just doing it now to sell the book. She was vicious. She was brutal on him. And she kept saying, Jake, I know we're friends, but I know you're full of crap. She would keep saying things like that. I actually encourage you to go listen to the interview she did with Jake Tapper. You can tell they've been friends for years. You can see the natural chemistry, and you can see she is calling BS on her friend. So what's weird for me is she knows Candace Owens. She knows Tucker Carlson, but she's defending them. And there's something else that's weird that I never noticed before about Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly is always very poised, very put together, very direct, and very prepared. Because up until now, Megyn Kelly relied on the facts. Mike knows, and listeners of the Ari Hoffman Show know this, that I've studied body language. She recently did back-to-back interviews, one with Tucker Carlson and one with Ben Shapiro, about this internal conservative civil war, about how Tucker Carlson is continuing to demonize Israel, demonize President Trump, even if not by name, platforming neo-Nazis, saying that, oh, Hitler wasn't that bad of a guy. Tucker has jumped the shark, gone off the reservation. Whatever it is that he's doing, it's crazy. And during the interview, she barely pushed back on him. What the only question she needed to ask was this. You platform Nick Fuentes, a white supremacist. Why won't you go on Ben Shapiro's show? Why won't you have Ben Shapiro on your show? That's it. That's what should have been. By the way, I find it entertaining that those are the two people I'm talking about. I always call Nick Fuentes bizarro white supremacist Ben Shapiro. And here we are right now. That's what's going on. So, Megyn Kelly fell apart while she was questioning Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro absolutely destroyed her. And I urge you to go watch those two back to back. And you can tell through her body language how she's asking questions. She's just covering for her friends. She is completely unprepared. I don't think Megyn Kelly's an anti-Semite. I don't think Megyn Kelly's anti-American. But I think she's killing her credibility because of the people she's shilling for. Look, I got a lot of friends in media. If they were doing things like this, let's take Brandy or Jonathan Cho, okay? If they were saying things like this, I would have them on the show. And I'd say, let's have a discussion about it. Let's have a debate about it. Let's have an event about it. Let's do that. And they would do that. But Megyn Kelly instead is going to bat for them with no seeming reason to back it up aside from, well, I'm friends with them, I'm friends with them, I'm friends with them. I get for a while you want to give your friend benefit of the doubt, but when your friend is literally saying Hitler's not so bad, not Nick Fuentes. You actually have, just the other day, Tucker Carlson was talking about how Bonhoeffer from Operation Valkyrie was the bad guy. Okay? The guy who tried to assassinate Hitler. You're talking about him being the bad guy? Tucker has lost his mind. So what happens? A lot of people are getting really mad at Megyn Kelly. Really ticked at Megyn Kelly because we know you don't hate Jews, but why are you sticking up for Tucker Carlson and why are you sticking up for Candace Owens? In fact, she said the other day, oh, Candace Owens never said that Turning Point USA or Erica Kirk killed Charlie Kirk. Yes, they did. There's clips of it. There's interviews of it. She made those outrageous claims, and Megyn Kelly's sticking up for her. So the Babylon Bee did something which I laughed out loud at, literally laughed out loud when I saw it. I showed it to my wife. She's like, where have you been? That was like 6 hours ago. I said, I run a radio show for 3 hours a day. I don't necessarily see everything during that gap. The Babylon Bee, headline, Megyn Kelly gets rid of old pager just to be safe. I laughed a lot. I thought that was great. Seth Dillon put that out there, but then Megyn Kelly, as opposed to laughing at the joke and realizing she's kind of been owned in this regard, she retweets it and writes, WTF, Seth Dillon, the editor of the Babylon Bee. And all of a sudden, everybody's jumping to, the Babylon Bee is doing death threats against Megyn Kelly. They want to kill Megyn Kelly. Oh, my God. Are we not allowed to make the pager jokes anymore? Because I didn't get the memo. I've been making those jokes for over a year. And occasionally people have cautioned me about the same thing. Are you wishing death on somebody? No, it's a joke. Well, the Babylon Bee, for the first time ever, took down a story. But what I find interesting about this, Megyn Kelly used to have a sense of humor because Mehdi Hassan was the subject of a similar joke by the Babylon Bee. And said, oh, they're trying to kill me. It's a death threat. It's a death threat. And Megyn Kelly rightfully called him out for being a wuss.
Here's where it went south. Mehdi Hassan leaned so far into playing the victim. He reminded me of those World Cup soccer players and their drama, pretending that they're hurt so that they can get a red card or whatever on somebody else. It was over the top. He deserves an Academy Award for did you just say you want me dead? You just said you want me to be killed? What is he? It's obviously the beeper thing is a reference to what Israel did to Hamas supporters and members of Hamas, where they blew up their beepers and in some cases blew up the men holding the beepers. And you were saying if you support the Palestinians, you later said you thought he said Hamas, maybe he has a beeper. That's the comment. But how do we get from that to, I hope you die?
And notice he didn't say, are you saying I'm a terrorist? His implication is, therefore, I am a terrorist.
So wait a second. Megyn Kelly used to be fine with the humor and now isn't fine with the humor. This is why you just can't trust Megyn Kelly anymore, because she's talking out of both sides of her mouth, and her credibility is really shot, in my mind, of somebody I used to look up to and somebody who I used to value their content. I used to think it'd be great to go on Megyn Kelly's show. Now, I'm wondering, is she going to be meaner to me than a guy like Tucker Carlson, who's platforming a white supremacist, an anti-Donald Trump, an anti-American, talking about how awesome Putin is?